The opening ceremony of the 2014 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow got underway at Celtic Park a decade ago. After that, the focus was on winning medals for the athletes taking part. 71 nations from around the Commonwealth competed in 17 sports over 11 days. One of those who grabbed gold in Glasgow was Scottish bowler Darren Burnett from Arbroath.
Any Commonwealth Games is always special. I think the fact that it was a home games in Scotland made it even more special. Probably a lot more friends, family, a lot more people could get to it that were supporting the Scottish contingent. So, it made it ultra special. But, the Commonwealth Games is always a big event for us as bowlers. So, we knew what we were up against. So to get the gold medal there, it's just extra special.
Did you really believe before the event started that you could do that?
I think you've always got to believe, it's not easy. You've got the best in the world there, particularly in our sport. The best bowlers probably come from within the Commonwealth, so it really is the top of the top. And, to come out on top in an event like that, you've got to be playing your best. I had won the World Indoor Singles earlier that year, so confidence was good, but you've still got to produce it. And I thought I could win it, but I knew it was going to be a tough challenge.
Obviously, apart from winning the gold medal, what was your sort of abiding memory of the whole experience?
Just the way Glasgow ran that Commonwealth Games, I thought, I'm lucky to have now done 6 Commonwealth Games, spanning across a lot of different places. But, I thought Glasgow did a great Games. It's obviously extra special when you come away with a gold medal in the Games. But, I think they did it really well. And it was just great. It was a great team spirit across the whole of the Scottish team that year. I think because it was a home Games, we were all buzzing. And, a bit like myself, there was a lot of athletes, probably had a lot of family, friends with them that might have not been able to get to an overseas Games. So, just the whole way it was organised and run was really special.
How have things changed for you, over the last 10 years?
Yeah, it changes a lot. I think when you win the gold medal, any Commonwealth Games, you suddenly get recognised a bit more. There's a bit more media attention, you're under the spotlight, I suppose, a bit more. But that's what makes it special. I think that just reminds you of how, what you've done and what you've achieved.
While Darren was on the podium, other athletes were competing for medals at venues across the city. The Emirates Arena and the Sir Chris Hoy Velodrome were specially built for the Games at a cost of £116 million and are still used to host a number of major events. But the nearby Athletes Village, which housed competitors and officials, is undergoing regeneration.
I think for the new people moving into the new houses, I think it's a very, very attractive place to come and live. I think there's people now buying 3 and 4 bedroom houses for over £300,000. Nobody, in 2007 would ever consider that would be possible. But there's still bits to go. I think in terms of Lily Street, Swan Street, those areas, I think Mollendina Housing have in no way kept up with the pace.
So some work to be done 10 years on from the Athletes Village being transformed into housing. One man who remembers the Games well is Peter Sampson, who was one of thousands of volunteers at the event.
I think the highlight moment for that was definitely the feeling of, the feel-good feeling that emanated in Glasgow during that whole period. There was a real buzz about the city. The place was obviously overflowing with international visitors, which is always good. And I think the whole sort of the build-up and then the actual delivery of the Games evoked a real sense of camaraderie, especially among the volunteers and the people involved in the Games. You have to remember that 50,000 people applied to become volunteers, and then 12,500 people were signed up to be volunteers. So a lot of people to suddenly be involved in a massive event like the Commonwealth Games. And I think the Commonwealth Games organisers would say at the time that without these volunteers, obviously they just couldn't make the Games happen. So there was a real sense of teamwork. And for me, that was a real gold medal winner, the volunteer movement, just getting that boost. And even for the 30-odd thousand people who weren't successful, hopefully they thought, well, it was worth applying for, and maybe they thought going forward they would apply for another volunteer's role. And, that can only be a good thing for the city. And I have to say, from a personal point of view, the sense of satisfaction in doing it and the kind of reward was just that whole buzz of being part of a major event.
Which area were you stationed at?
Yeah. When you apply, you kind of tell them what you want to do, and obviously because of my media background, I thought I would be involved in some area devoted to media, and I ended up in, of all places, the weightlifting arena, which I have to say was a new experience for me, very much outside my comfort zone, knowing zero about weightlifting. But you're trained, you're given enough knowledge to be able to deliver the job that you're signed up to do. And it was really, really interesting. I never thought I could get excited about watching weightlifters, but there you go. I think it was also because the contestants were really friendly, and obviously it was a big part of their life to be there, and it was a chance for us to meet lots of people from all different parts of the world, other people with similar life experiences to ourselves, but there were a lot of people who had never done any kind of media work before, so it was good to share our expertise. There will be positives and sadly some negatives as the legacy from the Games. I'm an optimist, and I think if nothing else it showed what Glasgow is capable of, and I believe that we've maybe kind of gone a few steps back without being too political, and hopefully we can recall how the city was then and want to emulate that again. For me, I think the real winner for the city was the boost that it gave to the volunteer movement. I mean, I've been a volunteer in some role in charity work or whatever since I was 17, so I'm very passionate about that. For me, it's about giving back, and I now do volunteer work for Glasgow's Hospice, the Prince and Princess of Wales Hospice, and I've also done other sporting events like the European Championships, and I cannot over-enthuse about it, because it's just the most incredible experience to be part of either an organisation or an event which gives you the opportunity to be part of it and to give something back. So that to me is where Glasgow really continues to benefit from the Games legacy, because I do think it put the whole volunteer movement in the spotlight, and I think people identified with that.
A lot of people not that happy about the state that Glasgow's in, rubbish, rat population, etc., etc. Do you think Glasgow has the ability to host another major tournament, another major sporting event here?
I'd like to think that we do have the ability. It might take a bit more effort than last time around, because, as you say, there are elements of the city that need a bit of a clean-up, and that's sad for the city. It's sad for those of us who live there year in, year out. And obviously, if it means that the city gets that much needed kind of boost in these areas, then that's great. I think because of what we did in 2014, there's a very strong chance that we could do it again in whenever the occasion arises.